Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer, New York's senior senator and the highest-ranking Democrat in the chamber, took to the floor with a message that cut through the usual political fog. America is watching, and America is horrified. What you're about to hear is not just a speech. It's a reckoning, a direct challenge to the Trump administration's immigration machinery, and a demand that the nation confront an uncomfortable truth.
Mr. President.
Democrat leader.
I ask unanimous consent the quorum be dispensed with.
Without objection.
Mr. President, the Senate gavels into session with the conscience of this nation shaken to its core. Last Saturday, in the East Street district of Minneapolis, 37-year-old Alex Preddy was shot and killed by a Border Patrol agent after he was trying to help a woman thrown to the ground by federal officers. The many videos of Alex's death circulating online are grisly, they're horrifying. They appear to show Alex was shot 10 times in less than 5 seconds. They show he held nothing more than a cell phone in his hand. If we trust our own eyes and ears instead of Trump administration propaganda, it's pretty clear that Alex was murdered in broad daylight. The grief and anger his parents must feel right now must be staggering. He was a decent young man, an intensive care nurse at the VA who dedicated his life to helping others. In fact, the morning after Alex Preddy was killed, I was at a doctor's appointment, and as it turned out, my doctor's assistant was from Minneapolis. She knew Alex Preddy. She said he was just the kindest, gentlest soul you'd ever meet. Not a bad bone in his body. Alex Preddy did not deserve to die. Nor did Renee Good deserve to die 2 weeks ago, shot in her own car mere minutes after dropping her kid off at school. Enough is enough. And that's what America is saying, from one end of this country to the other. What ICE and CPP are doing in Minneapolis and other cities around the country is not border security and certainly not law and order. What ICE is doing is lawless disorder. What ICE is doing is state-sanctioned thuggery, and it must be stopped. ICE must leave Minnesota today, not tomorrow, not next week, but today. There are reports that the president is thinking about a reduction in force. A reduction isn't good enough. President Trump should act now to completely withdraw ICE and immediately turn down the temperature. Americans support law enforcement. Americans support common sense border security, but America does not support ICE terrorizing our communities. Look at this picture. This is the kind of picture we're seeing more and more in American cities when ICE descends upon them. Federal agents shooting at and threatening protesters. Black ICE SUVs roaming the streets and agents barging into homes without warrants. ICE encircling schools with riot gear and using kids as bait. And terrorizing our communities to the point that people are afraid to go to work, to church, shop for groceries. This madness, this terror must stop. The American people, Democrat, Republican, Independent, demand that the chaos and lawlessness of ICE be severely reined in. This week, the Senate will step into the breach. In a few days, the Senate will consider a package of 6 funding bills sent to us recently by the House, and 5 of those bills are ready to go and should quickly pass. I'll say more about that in a moment. But in the wake of ICE's abuses and the administration's recklessness, the Senate must not pass The DHS budget is currently written and must be reworked to rein in and overhaul ICE to ensure the public's safety. The fix should come from Congress. The public can't trust the administration to do the right thing on its own, and Republicans and Democrats must work together to make that happen. In the meantime, I will vote no on any legislation that funds ICE until it is reined in and overhauled, and Senate Democrats are overwhelmingly united on this issue. ICE should meet the same basic standards of accountability and due process that any law enforcement agency is asked to meet. Now, separately, to finish the appropriations process, Leader Thune should split the funding bills and move forward with the 5 that already have broad support from both parties. If Leader Thune agrees to split the bills, just as Speaker Johnson split them in the House, and puts the 5 on the floor, I'm confident they will sail through the chamber, and we will have funded 96% of the federal government. But if Leader Thune insists on holding a vote on DHS legislation that he knows will not pass, then he will guarantee yet another unnecessary government shutdown this Friday, and the shutdown will be on Leader Thune's shoulders. Leader Thune's choice is very simple. Move the 5 bills that are ready and fund 96% of the government while we work to improve the DHS bill, the Homeland Security bill. Or Thune can trigger a shutdown by forcing a vote on a bill everyone knows cannot pass at this moment, the combined bill that contains DHS. The ball is in Leader Thune's court. He must quickly move to prevent a shutdown.
Senator Schumer's words were deliberate. State-sanctioned thuggery, lawless disorder, murder in broad daylight. These are not the carefully hedged phrases of a career politician trying to play both sides. This is the language of moral clarity, or, if you're on the other side, provocation. But let's examine what's actually at stake here. Alex Prey was not an undocumented immigrant. He was not a criminal. He was an intensive care nurse, a man who spent his days saving lives at a Veterans Affairs hospital. And according to multiple videos that have now been viewed millions of times, he was shot 10 times in under 5 seconds for the apparent crime of holding a cell phone and trying to help a woman in distress. Renee Good was a mother. She had just dropped her child off at school. Minutes later, she was dead in her own vehicle. These are not statistics. These are American citizens killed by federal agents operating under the banner of border security in Minneapolis, a city roughly 400 miles from the nearest international border. Senator Schumer's ultimatum is unprecedented in its scope. He has declared that he will vote against any legislation funding ICE until the agency is, in his words, reined in and overhauled, and he claims Senate Democrats are overwhelmingly united behind him. The political implications are staggering. With a government shutdown looming Friday, Schumer has effectively told Majority Leader John Thune, split the bills, isolate DHS funding, or watch the government grind to a halt. And crucially, he's made clear that if Thune refuses, Democrats will ensure the blame falls squarely on Republican shoulders. Schumer is betting that the American public, including independents and moderate Republicans, have seen enough. Enough of black SUVs circling neighborhoods, enough of agents in riot gear surrounding schools, enough of warrantless raids and militarized intimidation tactics that belong in authoritarian regimes, not American cities. Is he right? The polling suggests he might be. Support for aggressive ICE tactics has been eroding for weeks, and the images coming out of Minneapolis have only accelerated that trend. But here's the deeper question this speech forces us to confront. What kind of country are we becoming? When federal agents can shoot an unarmed nurse 10 times on a public street and the official response is propaganda, dismissing what millions have seen with their own eyes, something fundamental has broken. Senator Schumer called this a moment when the conscience of this nation is shaken to its core. He's right. The question now is whether that conscience will translate into action in Congress, in the courts, and ultimately at the ballot box. The Senate will vote in the coming days. The nation will be watching. For now, the ball is indeed in Leader Thune's court. But make no mistake, it's the American people who will ultimately decide the outcome of this game.